Hey, this is Ricky Caudell again, and I'd just like to talk to you about MVP, Most Valuable Player, what it means to me. I've been watching these NFL shows, ESPN, PFF, First Take, Get Up, all this, right? Speak, and everybody's got a different idea of what makes an MVP. It seems to me that like they've been giving out this award for over 56 years. That there should be a set criteria. What makes an MVP? To me, an MVP is a person who elevates their team more than anybody else possibly could, right? Patrick Mahomes is the best record. He doesn't have the stats, but he has the best record. His team wins, and the reason they win is because they know at the end Patrick's going to get it done. Lamar Jackson's having a great season, awesome, but they win because their defense is playing almost back to what they are known to be playing, and they have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, and they have possibly the most hardcore north and south running back in the NFL in Derrick Henry. And they got fairly decent receivers and tight ends. Josh Allen. Now, he doesn't have the receivers, but he's got a great offensive line. He's got a great defense. He's got a good running back. And Josh Allen's a freak. He's just a freak. He's like a linebacker that can pass the ball. Joe Burrow is playing with a bottom 10, bottom 5 offensive line. I know they're banged up. They're banged up bad. They're hurt bad. And his defense overall is just not very good. And their running game isn't very good. But their offensive line isn't very good. I know Joe Burrow's got great receivers. And Chase Brown's awesome at catching the ball and running the ball if you just give him a little seam. But out of everybody I've mentioned, Joe Burrow has the most incomplete team. And he's done the most with it. Now, they may not make the playoffs. There's a chance. I'm holding out. I got hope. But they may not make the playoffs. And these other guys they're going to. And I understand that. If your criteria of an MVP is the quarterback on the best team, fine. I mean, that's fine, man. But don't act like, oh, I'm going to give it to this guy because this guy's doing it with less than Joe Burrow. That's just a lie. That is just a lie. Now, I want to talk about line play. Defensive line, offensive line. I like Frank Pollak. I like the way he talks about glass eaters and stuff. I played football for 8 years. I did not play in the NFL, and I did not play in college long. But I was an offensive lineman. I don't know if you could tell. But listen, I was an offensive and defensive lineman. And the most important thing an offensive or defensive lineman can do, the first thing he has to do is hit the other guy, the guy across from him. He's got to pop him. I mean, even on pass plays, you're allowed to pop the other guy, and then you step back into a protection mode. But you got to pop him, man. I mean, you got to hit him hard. Could you imagine being hit by a 320 to 350 pound man 50, 60 plays a game? Could you? It's hard to deal with. By the second half, good offensive linemen had the person across from them, whoever it may be, dreading the snap. I mean, dreading it. And it's the same for defensive linemen, especially defensive linemen. Whether it's a pass or a run, you just got to clobber that guy across from you, man. You got to hit him hard. You got to make him think about his mortality. You got to make him start doubting whether or not it's worth it. You don't have to be super talented. Although there's no such thing as an NFL player that's not super talented. And anybody who thinks there is, go out there and try to play NFL football. And that's all I got to say to you. Right? But you don't have to be. If you're strong and just mean, I mean, mean. You hit that dude, and you hit that dude every chance you get. And by the second half, he dreads the ball being snapped. Even if you're not making big splash plays, if you're just knocking the crap out of the guy across from you, man, you're solid. You're good. So if a lineman is strong and mean, he's got a future. Man, he's got a future. Now, I understand on pass plays, offensive linemen aren't allowed to be downfield. But that ain't got nothing to do with the line of scrimmage. If you hit that guy on that initial, as soon as the ball snapped, you just smack that dude. I mean, you pop him hard and then step back to form your pocket. You've won. Now he's got to recover and try to come back after you. And if you hit him and you hit him often enough, he really doesn't want to give you a chance to hit him again. So he's going to try to be finesse. He's going to try to be fancy, spin around, make duck moves, all that good stuff. So you won. Offensive and defensive linemen win at the snap. Period. They win at the snap. Even if they don't make the play, you can win. And if each lineman wins at the snap, the play is going to be a success. Whether your team loses or not, man, you got to win at the snap. The offensive and defensive linemen have to terrorize each other. We used to call it knocking the snot out of him. You hit him so hard he starts drooling. All right, so to me, Joe Burrow is the MVP. He's not going to get it. And even he knows he's not going to get it. But to me, Joe Burrow is the MVP. Now, there's a lot of people out there that, for whatever their reasons may be, they don't like Joe. Oh, they can say they do, but they don't like him, right? You hear a lot of these guys talk, right? And they're offended by the fact that Joe Burrow is being brought up in the MVP conversation. And to me, that may have a lot to do with personal feelings on their side. Because if you're a real analyst, you can't look at Joe Burrow's numbers and say that he can't be in the conversation. Once again, I'd like to bring up the fact that there are a lot of people calling for Zach Taylor's head. And once again, I'd like to bring up the fact that no one else wants to coach his team. Look what the front office is doing to him. You know how hard it is to keep players motivated to play for a team that knows that the front office is going to sell them out the first chance they get? And if you take on the coaching job for this team, you're guaranteed one thing: to be the lowest paid coach in the NFL. Period. They did it Marvin Lewis's entire career. They're going to do a Zach Taylor's entire career. All through the 90s and the early 2000s, every coach in it. Look at how many times the NFL had the lowest paid coach in the NFL. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals had the lowest paid coach in the NFL. Would you all please stop trying to get Zach Taylor fired? And Lou Anarumo. What are y'all doing, man? There is not a defensive coordinator in the league that could make the defense, the players that we have right now, play to a Super Bowl caliber. Our guys are just too young. And if you see how many tackles they miss, they're just not dedicated. That's got nothing to do with the coach. That's an individual decision to make every play. Now, we have players that sell out every play. Sam Hubbard sells out every play throughout his entire career. That's why the man is crippled. He played most of last year hurt. He played most of this year hurt. Crippled. Probably for the rest of his life. And they're going to cut him. Trey Hendrickson sells out every play of every game. You look at that man's motor, and it is nonstop go. He don't care if they double or triple team him. He is going at it. B.J. Hill's the same way, man. He's going at it. The two new kids, Chris Jenkins, McKinley Jackson, they're going at it, man. Pratt, he doesn't sell out all the way at the snap, but he's smart. He's trying to get everybody in a position. because he knows if he sells out, there's a chance that the second level of the defense is in trouble if he's out of position. And our cornerbacks are young, man. Our cornerbacks are young. And Dax Hill was the best one we had until he got hurt. Right? And then Turner was doing pretty well when he got hurt. Now, CTB is doing a lot better than he did. He finally got his head right. Right? And Josh Newton is doing pretty good. But we don't have the best defense in the NFL, man. Now, if the Cincinnati Bengals lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers, does that negate what they've accomplished at the end of the season? That's another thing, man. Look at what they've accomplished the last 4 games. Look what they've accomplished, man. Look at the defenses they faced. For Zach Taylor to have this team motivated enough to fight at the end of the year when everybody thought there was no way this team's going to make the playoffs. This team just isn't good. And Zach Taylor has these boys fighting every down of every quarter of every game. Would you all stop it? We need Zach Taylor. We need him. I don't see anybody that could replace him, an offensive-minded head coach that would want to work here. Even with Joe Burrow. Because I don't know if you all are seeing this or not, but Joe Burrow's not very happy with the Cincinnati front office. Y'all paying attention? He's not happy. Joe Burrow's not stupid. He's got a high football IQ. Go ahead, fire Taylor if you want. Go ahead. Get some clown up in here who ain't ever coached an NFL team in his life or ain't ever been a head coach in his life. Get him up in here to play for these guys who love that man. Love that man. And you fans, what are you doing? This man involved you in every playoff win this team has had. No other coach does that in the NFL. So go ahead, get him fired. And then when you lose Joe Burrow to another team, cry in your soup. Just bawl away. Oh, woe is me, we're the Bengals again. What happened? You called for Zach Taylor's head. That's what happened. So to me, Joe Burrow's the MVP. Zach Taylor's a good coach, man. Anarumo's a good coach, man. The GM, I'm not even going to say the front office because I think Duke Tobin is awesome to do what he does with what he has to work with. I mean, he's told every year, yeah, you can go to the store, but you got to get all the generic stuff you can line up. Can't buy nothing top of the shelves. You can't keep anything we got that's top of the shelf either, man. We're going to get rid of it. We just don't want it. So, but I mean, I think the Bengals can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really think that they're going to beat them 33-24. That's about what I see it as. Joe Burrow's going to get sacked. It's just that's what's going to happen. He's going to get sacked. But he's tough. And he's out to prove something. Did they make the playoffs? I don't know. I think the Jets can beat the Miami Dolphins in cold weather without Tua playing. Yeah, I think they could beat them. Even if they don't play Aaron Rodgers, I think the Jets could beat the Miami Dolphins in New York, in New Jersey. And it comes down to can the Kansas City backups beat the Denver Broncos? I don't know. They might. Anything's possible. They are NFL players. They are on an NFL team. Keep my fingers crossed. Keep your fingers crossed. It's possible. It could work. You know, God bless y'all. Who dey? Go Bengals. I'll be watching. I'll be paying attention. I'll be rooting. And I'll see you all later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.